All right, welcome to the show, y'all. It is Wednesday, February 18th, and I have a really, really important show for you today. So we're going to get to some breaking news in just a second. It is massive, massive news. But before I get to that, let me just tell you, in this show, we also have, I think we may have found the worst Epstein files. I think we may have found them. I'm going to share them with you right here. You do not want to miss that. We also have Trump's secret money laundering that he doesn't want you to know about. And then we also have, later on, John Fetterman erupts on Hassan Piker and AOC and has a viral meltdown on Fox News. You don't want to miss that either. So do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel below. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every time a video drops. And let's go ahead and jump right in, because the major breaking news I have for you right now, y'all, is that an Iran war may be imminent. It may be imminent. And then we'll get to this in just a second, but there's some whispers about tactical nukes potentially being used here. Okay, so let's start with this. Breaking, Axios reports that there is evidence that U.S. war with Iran is imminent, and Israel is preparing for a scenario of war within days, which is expected to include weeks-long, full-fledged war, unlike the Venezuela operation, joint U.S.-Israeli campaign that is much broader in scope than the 12-day war in June. The U.S. Armada now consists of 2 aircraft carriers, 12 warships, hundreds of fighter jets, and multiple air defense systems. More than 150 U.S. military cargo flights have moved weapons, systems, and ammunition to the Middle East, and another 50 fighter jets in 24 hours have been sent, including F-35s, F-22s, and F-16s. Oil prices are surging above $64 a barrel on this news, okay? So this is a disaster, y'all. I warned you a million times over. When you look at the Iraq War, we were there for over 20 years. It was a catastrophe. We killed hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians. We displaced millions. Never mind the torture black sites that we set up. Never mind our own soldiers being killed. Never mind the fact that you broke the region, and that led to the rise of Al-Qaeda, and later on led to the rise of ISIS. Now we're talking about a country that is way bigger and way more advanced than Iraq. And if what they're doing here is indeed a full-fledged war, then this is going to be an absolute catastrophe. In fact, they're talking about, this is going to be sustained. It could last weeks. It could last months. The fact that they're saying it's going to last weeks or months is the reddest of all red flags. Because back at the beginning of the Iraq War, they were saying the same thing. They said, this won't be a 2-year operation. It'll be maybe 2 weeks or maybe 2 months. Now we're getting the exact same talking points, y'all. The exact same ones. All right, but you have to take a look at this as well. Non-stop tankers on the move. Absolutely nuts. So here we go. This is what's currently happening as we speak. We're getting more fighter jets in place. We're getting more warships in place. In fact, there was reporting a couple of weeks ago that the reason we didn't attack Iran at the time is because we had so many of our ships were surrounding Venezuela. Because, of course, they did the illegal and offensive war against Venezuela, where they kidnapped, abducted Maduro, and are now stealing Venezuelan oil. But we had plenty of our military assets in the region at the time, which made it so there wasn't the correct number to go after Iran. Basically, Israel was even saying, hey, we'd be sitting ducks in this scenario. We don't have enough support here. So this is where we're at now, y'all. This is where we're at. All right, now this is the one that, holy shnikes, this should be front of mind for everybody at the moment. So this was just posted on 4chan. Let me read you this. I posted yesterday with a 36-hour timeline. We are now in the 24-hour window. Look for a significant number of Iranian leadership to be exterminated. The leadership of Iran is made up of a secret council of 22 military and political leaders, that's the Revolutionary Guard, who meet regularly in a bunker in Tehran. One of their members is a Mossad agent, so they've infiltrated them. Needless to say, this group goes first. Israel knows after the last few years, this is the time to end this shit show, and tactical nukes will take out most of Iran's missile infrastructure in the first strike. Tehran will go in the first wave with a false flag attack set up for Israel to kick things off. So according to this guy, they're saying, Israel and the U.S. are going to pretend like Iran attacked some U.S. ship in the region or some, Israeli fighter jet or whatever it may be. And then they're going to say, we were attacked first, so now it's all systems go. We didn't start it, but it's going to be a false flag attack. All right, more. Venezuela was a test for what is happening in Iran. A large part of the Iranian military and leadership will be vaporized in the opening salvos. Israel will use tactical nukes to take out Iranian missiles and their bases. We are about T-minus 3 days now. Okay, let me just pause to point out, it is very possible that this is just somebody talking shit, doesn't know anything about what's actually going on, right? Just, posting something to get a rise out of people. Of course, that's possible. However, having said that, the opposite is also possible, because last night, this was floating around on Twitter. There was an anonymous poster on 4chan in 2023 who exposed the following, that Meta was planning to create an AI that would post for dead people. And then the news just came out that actually is happening, that they're creating this technology where you feed this AI like a couple pictures of a dead parent or something, and you maybe play their voicemail from their phone, put that into the AI, and then based on the voice and based on the picture and based on the characteristics of like how you describe them to be, they can then like basically pretend to be a virtual version of your dead parent. That's actually going ahead, and somebody on 4chan in 2023 posted that was in the works, and they were correct, okay? Now, again, that's not conclusive about what's going to happen here with Iran today, but having said that, I was the one who was sounding the alarm when they were surrounding Venezuela with all of these warships. And I was going, I don't think they're doing that for shits and giggles. By the way, I said the same thing when it was with Russian buildup along the Ukrainian border. There were a lot of people who were somehow convinced that Putin is not going to attack. And I was like, why would you say that? They're building up the military around the border. Like, if anything, Occam's razor is they probably are planning an attack. And they were. So it was true for Venezuela. It was true for Ukraine. And now you look at this and you go, I don't think they're doing this for shits and giggles, right? Some people are saying, oh, they're doing it to gain a strategic advantage in negotiations, right? But here's the problem with that. There are no actual negotiations. What is there to debate? What is there to discuss? The fact of the matter is Obama made the correct deal with Iran. He made the correct deal. Hey, let us regulate your nuclear program so you can't make nuclear weapons, and we'll give you back your own money that we stole via sanctions. That was the deal. Trump came in there and illegally ripped it up. Biden didn't get back in it. Now Trump is back in office. Now what the Trump regime is saying is, oh yeah, maybe we'll make a deal with you, but you need to not only give up any potential nuclear weapons, you also need to give up any and all potential nuclear power, even if it's just for power for your power grid or scientific research. Oh, and by the way, you need to give up all of your ballistic missiles. That's not a negotiation. That's a fucking shakedown. That's a ruse. And they're lying. They know Iran can't accept those terms. So what they're doing is they're going to go, oh, we tried to negotiate and they slapped it down. So it's on them. Now we're going to attack. Right? Meanwhile, again, the terms were preposterous. The terms had a poison pill in it. Of course, Iran can't give up their ballistic missiles. You got Israel, who's threatening to fucking topple their government all day, every day. They can't go through a single weekend without pointing out that they want the Iranian regime to be changed. So what do you want them to just agree to be sitting ducks and then basically get taken out immediately? Like, we saw what happened in Libya, for example, under Gaddafi. He gave up his strongest weapons and then he was fucking toppled, right? Like, Kim Jong-un is the only one they can't fuck with because he has nuclear weapons. Have you noticed that? So they say, oh my God, we need to disarm you and then you'll be safe. But in reality, they disarm you and then they fucking kill you. That's what they do. But we're not done yet because I also want to show you this. The White House is also under pressure from Israel to constrain Iran's ballistic missile program. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who met with Trump last week, said Sunday a good deal would require the dismantling of Iran's nuclear infrastructure and limiting the range of its ballistic missiles. Okay. So why is the U.S. under pressure from a junior partner? Stop and think about that. Again, the White House is under pressure from Israel to constrain Iran's ballistic missile program. How could the junior partner Israel put the U.S. and Trump under pressure? Apropos of nothing, I'm thinking about that 2011 Jeffrey Epstein email where he says, oh, Trump is at the house with one of the victims and he's been there for hours. This was in 2011, before we even knew Trump was going to run for president. And it's a casual Jeffrey Epstein email that he thought nobody else would ever read. And he's saying Trump is at one of his properties with the victim, quote, for hours. Yeah, remember how all of Jeffrey Epstein's properties were bugged to the high heavens? That means there are pictures and videos of Trump doing things with said victim. Okay? For sure, that's in a motherfucking vault in Tel Aviv. Russian intelligence probably also has a copy. Saudi intelligence probably also has a copy. The CIA probably also has a copy because that's what he did. Epstein was a freelancer and worked with all these different intelligence agencies running his honeypot blackmail operation. But Now you have Netanyahu who can go in there and talk to Trump and say, you might not even want to do regime change in Iran. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, because Trump's a massive warmonger in his own right. But even if you don't want to do regime change, I'm going to need you to go ahead and do it, unless you want a certain tape leaking. Okay? This is going to get even spicier, though, in just a second, because my guess is there's some pressure like that being put on Trump, or at the very least that that's implied, that Trump knows they have the dirt on him, knows that they could sink him if they wanted to, right? But then take a look at this. The Ayatollah of Iran comes out and says, the island of corruption is only one example. Okay, wait a second. That sounds like he's referring to Epstein Island, right? The island of corruption is only one example. Okay, let's continue. There is much more of this. Just as this was not apparent and then became exposed, there are many other things that will soon come to light. This is the Grand Ayatollah vague posting about dropping some spicy-ass, juicy-ass details, taking down the Western order, taking down the U.S. government, taking down Israel, saying, hey, we got this stuff that's going to change the nature of reality as we know it. Okay? So Ryan Grimm chimed in and he said, according to the search warrant used to search John Bolton's home, Iran hacked Bolton's AOL account 3 times. The cache has not yet been released. Khamenei is hinting at leaks to come as several U.S. armadas float nearby with countless missiles aimed at his head. The not-so-subtle implication here is, you want to attack me? You want to try to do regime change in Iran? Be my guest. But if you do that, we release all the dirt that we have. And you even have Iranian hackers directly saying, we have video of Trump raping kids. That will be released if you attack us. So Trump appears to be in a position where if he doesn't attack, Israel releases the tapes of him raping a kid. If he does attack, Iran releases the tapes of him raping a kid. Maybe it wasn't a great idea to have a fat, pedophile, rapist, war criminal president who can be blackmailed and coerced and extorted by literally every government on earth. Maybe, just maybe, that wasn't the best idea. So this is crazy, bro. This is all so crazy. It's like the plot of a fucking movie. It's the plot of not just a movie, like a bad sci-fi movie. That's a little too crazy, a little too extreme, that you watch it and you go, all right, that wouldn't happen. Come on now. That's going a little bit too far. But it seemingly is. It seemingly is. And so look, I told you guys a long time ago when they stopped the first round of bombing against Iran, I said, I have a fucking bridge to sell you if you think this is it. Not only is this not it, we're not even at halftime, bitch. We're not even at halftime. They are just getting started. And the fact of the matter is, Israel was going to stop at nothing to do regime change in Iran and get the U.S. to do the dirty work. They were going to stop at nothing because Israel views Iran as existential to their existence. It's an existential threat to their existence. They are the one regional power that can actually stand up to Israel. And they did by funding the proxies, funding Hezbollah in the area, funding Hamas in the area, funding the Houthis in Yemen, for example. It's the Shia Crescent, as they call it, right? And you have Israel basically now being, the Gulf Arab states basically on the same page with them. They're all, everybody here is U.S. allies in that region. So with the Sunnis, there's corrupt deals. They interpersonally know each other. They're roughly on the same page. But Israel views it as the Shias, Iran, they're the only thing preventing Israel from going absolutely buck wild and murdering more people, taking all of Gaza, taking all of the West Bank, taking parts of Lebanon, and trying to create a greater Israel, doing more genocide and more ethnic cleansing and creating a greater Israel. They will stop at nothing until Iran is gonzo, okay? That's what we're witnessing right now. And the fact that all of these warships are being moved there, the fact that all of these fighter jets are being moved there, it is not a coincidence. The question is the particulars and the details and the specifics. And on that, we're going to have to wait and see. But it does not look good at all. It looks like this could be an absolute monumental fuck up of all fuck ups, bro. And a war crime. It's not enough to just say it's a fuck up. It's a fucking war crime. This is another illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us. And all of this is happening at the same time that inflation is going up in this country, unemployment's going up in this country, the Trump regime is taking people's health care away from them, seemingly on a daily fucking basis. Okay? People are struggling in this country, and Trump is going whole hog with the military-industrial complex, imperialist warmonger bullshit, and he's blackmailed and coerced and extorted by the Israeli government, and potentially even the Iranian government has tapes that they'll release if this goes through. So this is a wild, wild scenario to be in, but perhaps you shouldn't have picked the president who is completely and utterly owned by AIPAC and the Israel lobby and is also blackmailed and extorted by Mossad. Maybe that was a horrible idea, actually. Maybe that was the worst possible idea, actually, and we're living with the consequences of it now.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.